Hey, welcome back to the shop. Thanks for stopping by. This week's project, we are going to make a little mold for making paper potting cups to plant your seedlings for your garden or your flowers, whichever. Those things are getting crazy expensive, and vegetables as well, so we grow a lot of them here, and we're going to make our own cups here this year. So you saw at the start of the video where I just drilled a 1-inch deep hole in the bottom of this, and I've got the brad point from the Forstner bit here, which will fit over top of my stem center well. So I'm just going to turn this around. This is going to be the size that I want. It's about going to be finished about 2.5 inches, and then I'm going to turn a little knob on the end. So very simple. So like all the project that sells videos in this series, this is going to be done at real time without using anything other than what you would have gotten with your lathe. No 4-jaw chucks or anything like that, just the centers and a faceplate. And these things sell quite well, and given what's going on in the world today, they're probably going to be more popular than ever because a lot of people are getting into little backyard gardens and raised beds and things like that. This gives them a chance to inexpensively make their seed cups out of something that's environmentally friendly that most people have anyway, which is newspapers. And you can make these a variety of sizes out of any scrap wood that you have. This is out of laminated yellow birch, which I happen to have kicking around, lots of it, but it doesn't need to be hardwood. It could be softwood. It's just a form to use to wrap your paper around. So any scrap that you have at all. The most often asked question on these project that sells videos is what I would sell these for. So I would sell this mold and the base that we're going to make coming up next for about $12 to $15 this size if I was using scrap wood. If I had to buy the wood, I would charge that $12 to $15 plus whatever the wood cost me. And filming these, it took about 15 minutes to make this start to finish. If I was doing a production run in my shop by myself where I wasn't filming, I would probably make about 5 sets of these in an hour, so anywhere between 10 to 12 minutes a set. Alright, so the trays that I have to put these in are 10 inches by 20 inches, so 2.5 works out really good for the size of the plants that I want to put in them, and that allows me to put them in so that the little pots are going to be able to be up against each other and give each other a little bit of support. So this is, you want to make your cylinder as close to a cylinder as you can without any taper, and so I'm at 2.5 right there, so that should work out just fine. The height of the tray that these are going to go in is just over 2 inches. So I'm probably going to come up here. I'll make them 3 inches so that gives me a nice size little cup. So I'm going to cut this in here. I'm going to make a little handle on it so it's easier to take it out of the paper when you've got it wrapped around. And these don't need to be sanded up. They're, you know, if you get a decent cut on like this doesn't need to be sanded at all. It's a very simple project. Make whatever you like for a handle on them, it doesn't matter. You say you really don't need to sand these, but just give this a touch of 240 grit, just because. There, and that's all you need to do for this part. Now we'll make a base. All right, now we're gonna make a base that mold will set into, which just kind of crimps the bottom and makes a little bit better bottom. I'm gonna make it out of this piece. It's just scrap wood. I've glued it to a faceplate with hot melt glue, and I'm gonna leave the bottom square because it's easier to hold when you're putting your mold on and turning it around. A lot of them you'll see are round, but I'm gonna leave this one square. That's gonna bring the tailstock up at the start for a little bit of security. Okay, that's a little bit better. Once again, you don't really need to sand these. They're just a tool. So, all right, move my tailstock out of the way here. Okay, so the diameter of the mold that we're going to wrap the paper around is 2.5 inches. So I'm going to make this just a little bit over 2.5 inches. So I'm going to go a 1/16 oversize. Check to make sure that our mold fits in. So not quite, I gotta go just a little bigger. That's pretty good. And this is only about 1/8 of an inch deep. I am gonna make it just a little deeper. And all this does is it just crimps as you fold your paper in, which I'll show here in a bit. This just kind of gives it a little bit of a crimp to make the bottom a little stronger so your material doesn't fall through. Take a little bit of this edge off so you don't get any splinters. Alright, so this is not fancy by any means. This is, like I say, this is just a tool, so there's no refinement required other than what we just did. Although I am just going to take this on my belt sander and just touch these corners so that there are no splinters on the corners. So I'm going to part the glue off now, and I'll show you how we make the pots. So you can cut your paper however you choose. I'm just going to use the utility knife and a straight edge. Quick. There's enough. have to be perfect. Take the sheet, fold it in half. Want to leave almost the width of the cup at the bottom, close, not more than. Fold this in, just take your press, push it in. That crimps the bottom. Take your handle, pull them out, and there's your pot. And if you like to, you can turn this top down if you choose, and you don't have to, whichever. And so I made them this size because this is the plan that I have, and this will take 4 of these wide by, I believe, 8 of them long. So that's pretty inexpensive and pretty easy. So hopefully that'll save you some money, and you can get your garden going this year for a little less than normal. Now, I made these ones this size. They were good for tomatoes and squash and peppers and things that we usually like to start here, cucumbers and things like that. If you wanted to do bedding plants for flowers and things that are smaller and you don't need a cup this big, you can make a smaller mold and use this very same one, just put it in a 4-jaw chuck and expand it into this recess, flip it over, and cut a smaller mold in the size, diameter in the bottom to fit the other size mold that you make. And the base doesn't need to be this thick. I just have this on hand, so I thought I'd use it. I mean, it could be 1.5 inches if you want to make a double-sided one like I'm explaining here, or you could just use a piece of 3/4 inch if you choose. Thanks for sticking around. I really appreciate it. Thanks again to everyone who subscribes to the channel and everyone who watches my videos. I appreciate that a ton as well. If you'd like to leave a comment and a thumbs up or thumbs down, that would be excellent. And we'll see you next time.